Hiya.
How's your week been?
Yeah, it's actually. How's yours?
All right.
Good. I'm going on a date on Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah,
so we were going to talk about dates.
I know. Yeah.
Tell me about your date. Where are you going?
So, well, we're just going for a coffee and a walk, which is actually going to be quite nice. Hopefully the weather will be not pissing it down. So we're just going to. So he said, "Do I want to meet him where he lives, or does he want to come to me?" And I was like, "Do you know what? I'm actually sick and tired of like going to meet guys. So like, you can come to me." So it'll be quite nice. Like, I'm quite looking forward to it. He's sort of like, I don't know him, but one of my friends like knows of him, and she told me she thought he was really fit. So
Friend of a friend is a good.
friend of a friend. So not a total stranger.
Okay.
Well, he's a stranger to me, but like he's known in the community.
And where on our barometer of men do we think he's going to
Oh
fit?
God. You just don't
If he's
know
a friend of
until
a
you-
friend, we'd hope
I
he's
hope he's
a decent human being, right?
Yeah. I think he will be a little bit.
Or you've got rubbish friends.
Yeah. Well, he's not even like friends with my friend. He's like friends with my friend's friends. So it's quite far removed, but I think he should be he seems like a decent guy. We actually matched like 3 different times on Hinge because I've like deleted it so many times.
Yeah. Should we explain our relationships? You don't have a relationship at the moment, but
Yeah.
so I am engaged from my cancer treatment.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm in a long-term relationship with my long-term partner, Shane. He's somewhere around the house at the moment. He's all right. He's quite a good egg as far as eggs go.
Seems nice.
He proposed the day he shaved my hair off.
That's really romantic.
Sweet. Yeah, really sweet. Completely surprising. I was bold and naked, and
what a nice way to turn like a really shitty day into like something positive. Though
it's definitely like.
Did he plan it that way?
He says that he knew he was going to propose the day my hair was coming off.
Yeah,
but he didn't know that was the day my hair was coming off. So he didn't have the ring yet. It was delayed a couple of days because I just got up one day and went.
Was he trying to persuade you? Like, no, don't shave it off today. I think maybe Friday is the day.
It's fine. He just proposed without a ring. To be honest, it didn't even like dawn on me that there wasn't a ring.
Yeah,
I was too busy being like, I'm bold and I'm naked. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I've been with him the whole way through treatment. For I don't know how long have we been together now. 4 years.
Yeah,
3 years, something like that. You're single.
I'm very single. I'm
not
single.
for lack of trying though.
I'm worse though. I'm trying really hard to get a partner.
You're not the problem. It's
yeah, it is not me.
It's me. They're the problem.
They're the problem. So I've been single for like 6 years now, maybe 7, 6.5. Anyway, so I've been single throughout the whole too long. Throughout the whole treatment process, I've been single, and so now I'm sort of navigating like trying to date after cancer, which dating I think at the moment is tricky anyway. I think online dating is hard.
So I don't get it. I don't understand it. I've never had to do it. I know Shane from back in my school days, and we've just floated around each other for a really long time and then got together. So I've never had to do the online dating thing. I
feel like, and this is going to sound like really big-headed of me, but I've never really had a problem with getting like boyfriends in the past. It's always been fairly like,
I want you, you're mine.
So like I've always just had someone that like I've connected with, and it's just led to a relationship, and like that's been really nice. Whereas now it's like it's really difficult.
One date me.
I'm so desperate. No, I'm joking. I'm not desperate. I'm fine being single. I'm single. Cut that out. I'm fine being single. So I'm fine being single. Oh my god!
We can't get it out now. But it keeps happening.
Okay, so I'm fine being.
Are you sure you're fine being single? Because I can't say it.
I'm actually fine being single. I'm quite good in my own company. I am really like an independent person. I'm just
it's
at
nice
a
to
point
have
now.
to cuddle.
I really just want a cuddle, like genuinely. I just want someone to be there when I get home from work, and I can just cuddle them, and we can watch movies and do other fun things. So yeah, I would quite like a partner at this point in my life, but yeah, it's been a struggle to say the least.
In the time I've known you, you've been on Hinge, off Hinge, on Hinge,
Mhm.
off Hinge.
Yeah,
Probably because like the men are just absolute douchebags.
basically,
Not all men are douchebags.
all men are
probably.
douchebags.
Except the good egg downstairs.
Yeah,
He's all right.
he's all right.
Do you want to tell us some of your funny stories? Because there's been quite a few.
Yeah, even since knowing you, I've been on.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to date, I'd say, for maybe a year now. I think the first time I started to dating, maybe I wasn't quite ready. But yeah, I think I've had Hinge like 4 times now in the space of a year. I've
So
like
what have you
deleted it.
what have you got on? What does your profile say about you?
I mean, I can get it up. Wait, where's my phone?
Yeah, get it up. Let's have a look.
Let's have a little look at my profile. Any tips? Send them my way because I need them. So it's changed recently. So this is one of the times where like I've only had Hinge for like a couple of weeks now because I deleted it like a month or so ago because I went on a really bad date, which I'm actually not going to tell you about. It's actually a bit of a sad story. I'm trying to keep it light, okay? I will tell you I came home and cried, so that's all you need to know. So at the moment, I've just got some pictures of me
Oh my
in like
god.
pretty dresses. Obviously got like what I'm looking for, my age, my height, all the normal stuff that you have to put in. And then I've got prompts, and I used to have a prompt that said like, the one thing you should know about me is I'm missing a boob, or I've only got one boob, whatever.
Yeah.
And now I've got a prompt and it says, try to guess this about me. Which body part am I missing? That's only been on there a couple of weeks, but it's already better, I think, because it's quite a good icebreaker, and people do sort of like chat and you have a bit of a joke about like people's stupid guesses, or people have boring guesses. Like a lot of people have said appendix, which A, isn't a body part.
Also, why would that be your thing on?
It's such a classic thing. Like that's a boring thing to have.
Party trick.
I wouldn't have had that on Hinge if that was the answer, because what a boring answer. A lot of people have guessed like little finger or like little toe or something, because I guess like obviously in the pictures it's quite clear I've got all my arms and legs. I look fairly like whole.
Yeah, you look whole.
So yeah, there's a picture of me in a bikini as well, which I think that picture's quite obvious that I'm missing a boob.
I don't think it is though.
Yeah, I mean it's to me because I know
see the edge of your scar there, but that's because I know that you've got a scar there.
Yeah,
but other than that, I don't think it looks.
No, so you can't tell in that one either.
That's a really nice picture.
Yeah, that's my friend Helen. She's the one who knows. Oh, Helen. She's the one who knows the guy that I'm going to go on date with. Yeah.
I like Helen. She looks lovely.
She is lovely.
I mean, you look great there as well.
Thank you. I've got my fake boob on actually in this one. So
yeah.
This one here, the left one.
Oh,
I know.
It looks like a real boob.
It does actually.
You'd never know.
So that's why people I think
just
quite
assumed
shocked.
That was
like
pre.
No. That's
Is this your hair?
No, it's a wig. That's a wig. Yeah. My head is doesn't look that good. And then just a couple. Look, that's like the most recent one. The thing is about my profile as well, like I don't have that many like super recent like nice pictures of me, I guess.
Because as we discussed last week, we don't go out and get dressed up.
Yeah. So I'm wearing a wig in half of these pictures.
You can't tell it's a wig.
No, you can't. It's like a natural one.
And actually this wig is really quite close to your hair now.
It is, yeah.
Longer, isn't it?
A bit longer and a bit thicker, a bit healthier. So yeah, my profile is quite like classic, I think, apart from the whole like which body part am I missing. And yeah, I used to tell people straight out that I had a boob missing. I think mainly because like I want to filter out the assholes.
Yeah. Did you find when it said I'm missing a boob that your conversations were centered around that, because you'd been
definitely
so I'm here?
Yeah. And that was like the first thing people would ask me about, which is fine because I've put it out there, but I think I started to get annoyed because like it's not the only thing about me that is interesting. So I think I've deleted that in the end, because I was like, I just don't want people to immediately be like, I mean, obviously now like people are guessing what body part I'm missing, and ultimately it leads to me sort of saying
it's a more fun conversation.
Yeah.
Like, why do you only have one boob?
Exactly. And I've had some like funny responses. So like one guy asked me if I was born that way. So I obviously said I've only got one boob. He messaged me and was like, were you born like that? I was like,
I just have so many problems with that question because you are born a child without boobs.
well, yeah,
right? Like
so
you're
technically, yeah.
when you
Yeah.
hit puberty. So
I never even thought about it that way.
just like grow one boob.
Yeah. And so I was just a bit like, no, hun, like, is anyone just born without like just one boob just grows? Like, I've never heard of that. So I was just like, no, mate, that's weird. So I've had some funny responses. I was in a funny mood one day, and one guy just asked me outright, like, how did you lose your boob? And I just thought it'd be really funny to tell him that I'd lost it in a shark attack. I think that's a pretty obvious lie.
Yeah.
Like surely that's a lie. And he genuinely like believed me, and it turns out he was like really into scuba diving, and so he was like really interested in the fact that I'd been in a shark attack. So it really all just aided into my lie, and I just sort of like kept on going with this lie. And I thought it was obvious because I basically described the plot of, do you know the film with Blake Lively in it, I think it's called The Shallows.
Yes.
Where she gets knocked off her surfboard and then she gets stranded on a rock and she has to try and get rid of the great white that's trying to eat her. So I basically described the whole plot of that movie.
You were Blake Lively.
I was Blake Lively.
Dream.
I had the dream, exactly. But apart from like she got bitten in the leg, whereas I got bitten in the boob, and I had to have my boob removed. And he just bought this lie, and in the end I just felt so bad because he wanted to go on a date with me. He was like, I'm so interested in this story, like should we go on a date to like discuss this further? And I was like, no, I'm really sorry, like I've just been lying to you this whole time. That's how like some ridiculous responses I've had to like my one boob. I always make it obvious that I've gone through cancer, usually before I meet someone, because it just comes up like when you're having general conversation with people about, you know, what have you been up to like in the last couple of years.
You don't want to get onto a date and then come up with it and then be like, oh, I've got one boob, and then like see in their face,
see the fear in their eyes. Yeah.
What the fuck do I do about that?
Exactly.
How do I ask about that?
Yeah.
Because then that puts the whole pressure of the thing back on you.
Yeah.
And at least if you've had the conversation before and brought it in, and they still choose to go on a date with you, whatever happens from there is definitely on them. And
exactly,
you, right?
I feel that's why I wanted to put it out, I think, because I just wanted to filter, because people are going to be uncomfortable with it, and that's just life, and that's just something that like I have to deal with now. But I'd rather just not waste my time on people who are going to find it like uncomfortable or difficult, or like I don't want to date someone who's had cancer. Like, okay, fuck off.
It's really superficial, isn't it?
It's really superficial. Yeah,
you're essentially bearing your soul by putting it out there, and then they're going, oh, I don't want that, when you are more than your
100%. Yeah.
Anything else.
Like, and I think I have sort of toyed with the idea of like, is it the right thing to do to put it out there straight away? But I personally, obviously everyone will have their own opinions, but like I personally prefer to put it out there, because if people aren't okay with it, I don't want to know you. Like if you've had that reaction of like, oh fuck, like oh my god, I don't know if I want to date someone that's only got one boob or that's had cancer, like okay, I don't want to waste my time, like you go and date someone else then.
When I was diagnosed, I gave Shane an out quite quickly. I genuinely texted and said, like, if you don't want to do this with me, now's the time to go, and like you can leave scot-free, no judgment. I get this is going to be horrible, I get this is going to be difficult, and if you can't or don't want to do this, that's fine. Because like also I didn't want to be the cancer patient girlfriend. It's really hard to describe, but I gave him an out from that side of it. Thankfully he didn't take it. Imagine if he I mean, it never occurred to me that he might, but
no, I mean if he did, like that's that's so bad. Like you're the one going through it, and then like the person that's supposed to love you is like, okay, bye. Like, oh my god. And like to be honest, I'm all about making people uncomfortable. Like if the fact that I've had cancer makes you uncomfortable, like you're not a good person in my opinion. Exactly, it's your problem, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'd rather just get that out of the way immediately. To be fair, most people say they're fine with it. In reality, like it might be a different story, but most people are like, oh cool, that's fine. I mean, the thing that I've had, which annoys me the most actually, is people that are just like, oh, okay, cool, but like you're fine now, aren't you? Like that's usually like the response I get from people once I've told them I've had cancer.
My eyes are so wide.
It's a shock, like
You're fine, Abby.
and I think a lot of
Gonna grow
people
back, is it?
yeah.
That would be cool.
So yeah, that's a lot of people's response is, oh right, you're okay now though, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I have to be a bit like, well, I don't think I'm ever really okay. I've had cancer, like I'm still very much like, I mean, I'm better, sure,
Yeah.
than I was 2 years ago. I'm not still having chemotherapy and surgery, but this is my life and it
Yeah.
is part of my life. I think that's what people don't necessarily understand when they like, when you're dating or if you first meet someone, people don't understand what goes on
Yeah.
with cancer
I think,
diagnosis.
from your point of view as well, you want to meet someone, right, and have all of that,
Yeah.
and all of this is still ongoing. You've still got like loads of years of medical stuff left.
Yeah.
And you don't need someone to be a part of that, because
No.
you've done that bit,
Yeah.
but that's still got to be a part of your relationship. So they
100%.
still have to be okay
Yeah.
with, you know, the one boob,
Yeah.
the doctor's visits and all that kind of
Exactly.
stuff. I don't think people realize what goes into it.
People 100%.
So
Unless they've like had experiences themselves, like they know someone or they've gone through cancer themselves, which isn't usually, I've never talked to anyone that's had cancer on Hinge. So yeah, unless they've had a personal experience of it, they don't understand what you go through. And like, yeah, cancer is a part of my life now, it's part of your life.
yeah,
It's going to be that way forever,
yeah,
regardless. Like in 10 years time when the hospital appointments have stopped and I might not be on any medication
Mhm.
anymore, that like trauma is still going to be there for me.
The support you're asking for is completely different
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
just-
support that I was asking for.
Yeah,
Say, because I was saying,
100%, yeah,
you have to ride this out with me.
yeah,
It doesn't matter how ugly it gets,
You
you're
have to be
in
there,
if
yeah.
you're in.
yeah,
Whereas you're saying, I've done the ugly bit on my own. I just need to be able to come home after I've been stabbed and you'd be like, it's all right.
yeah.
A cup of tea and a biscuit, well done.
Exactly, yeah. And it's not like I want my whole life to be cancer. Like that's
Yeah.
absolutely not what I want. So I'm not asking someone to come in and be my like therapist. Like I already have
Yeah.
a therapist who I love. So I'm not asking you to be my therapist. I just want to have a normal and
and
quotes,
non-judgmental.
non-judgmental relationship with someone. The worst is when people are like, oh, I know someone who had cancer.
Oh.
There was one guy who I think I did go on a date with in the end, against my better judgment. I'm really not sure why. So the first thing he said when he found out I had cancer was, oh, I knew a girl who had cancer, she died. That's
No.
genuinely what he said.
That's exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah. People always want to tell you like their stories, like, oh, I know my mum had cancer, or my like so and so had cancer, and it's like, okay, I don't need
It's
to
even
hear.
worse to follow up with they died.
Oh yeah, he was straight away, and I replied, and I was like, yeah, always nice to hear the good news
Hashtag
story.
I
He's
lived.
like, are you
Lol.
joking? He had to dig himself out of a hole by saying like, oh yeah, but she was really into like is it homeopathy, when it's like just no like actual medicines from the hospital, just sort of like organic herbs and stuff. She was really into that, and like she thought that was gonna cure her, and like she died. And I was just like, wow, okay, I don't need to hear that story. Like it's not comforting for me to hear that story. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's a very interesting world, the world of online dating.
Why did you go on a date with him?
I don't know actually.
Red flags.
Straight away red. I mean, he didn't get a second date. That was actually the guy who asked me how many times I masturbated.
What?
So I should have seen that coming.
Why did he ask that though?
So
what's that?
So when
was it World Masturbation Day?
No, I don't think it is. There's world days for everything now. So he basically, when we went on a date, you get some people who are not bothered about the cancer. They will never ask you a question about the cancer. And then you get some people who are fucking like so interested and want to ask you like non-stop. The conversation is literally cancer, which I hate.
Yeah.
And he basically was asking me loads of questions about like menopause and this, that, and the next, and whether my libido had gone in the menopause. And I was honest and said like, yeah, like my libido is sort of shot to shit, really. Like it's pretty low. And then he was like, how many times did you masturbate? And I was like, wow, like this is getting really personal. And then he told me how many times he masturbated, at least once a day, in case anyone's wondering. And I was like, I just said to him, I was like, well, we're not compatible if that's the case. You're masturbating at least once a day, which probably means 2 or 3 times a day. Like, are you okay?
Yeah. What's he doing with all of it? Like,
I don't know how he's got that much free time. I don't know. That was a good one. Yeah.
Some of my favourite ones, mainly because they have traumatized you less, are the ones where they've asked to see your Instagram and then they've just ghosted you. So Shelley's Instagram is beautiful.
Thank you.
She's got some really nice, beautiful pictures of herself on there, her scars, her body. I think it's fabulous. Other people, these men, have taken one look at it and Shelley's then never heard from him again, which
that really got to me.
It's baffling. The first one really upset you.
Really upset me.
Second one not quite so much.
Yeah.
I said to you at the time, it's 100% a judgment on them because they've taken face value. They probably haven't even read the things you've written alongside those images.
Yeah.
What blows my mind is how superficial that is, because they didn't even give you the chance to talk about your life outside of that.
But the thing is, like, they knew that I'd had cancer before they even, because I haven't linked my Instagram to my Hinge account, so like they basically asked to see it, and I was like, they basically said like, oh, it's easier to chat on Instagram, so can you send me your Instagram? And I was like, that's such bullshit, mate. Like, it's the same chatting on Hinge as it is on Instagram. Like, you just want to check out my photos, which is fine. Like, just be honest about it. My Instagram's open anyway, it's not private, so I just gave my handle to them. And never heard from either of them again. One of them just didn't message me, and the other one just unmatched me immediately.
Oh my God.
Like, didn't even.
I remember like the guy you were talking to afterwards, and I was like, don't tell him your Instagram. Keep that to yourself.
Honestly, and I think those like happen so quickly, like but one after the other, and it's never happened to me before. And I think it just upset me quite a lot because I didn't think how much cancer was going to affect my dating life. And so I think it was just a bit of a like shock that people could be so cruel. And I think it's not just about cancer. I think this is the issue of online dating in general, is it's so easy to just never speak to someone ever again and then not care about their feelings.
To me, it feels like you're shopping. Like,
yes, you are. You're browsing,
swiping a bit, superficial looking at the pictures. It makes it too easy to judge.
100%.
I don't have thick enough skin to do it if I ever had to do it.
It's hard regardless, and then you throw cancer into the mix and it's just a whole new ball game, basically. I just didn't think it was going to be quite as difficult as it is. I didn't realize that people were going to react the way they do. I have been on dates that have been fine, and it's just a case of like we've not clicked.
Some really nice people.
So it's not all bad, but there have been some moments where I've just thought, oh my God, like I just had no idea it was going to be this way.
Some of these men are just awful though.
It's different now because I have strong boundaries now, like quite strong. Since going through cancer, like I've set very strong boundaries for myself. Like, sorry mum and dad, I was fairly like loose, I guess is the word. Like I would sleep with people on a first date, like I'd sleep with people like after nights out, like it wouldn't, it wouldn't take much, I guess. Whereas now, because I'm not very sexually confident, I do have body image issues. I've only got one boob. Cancer's killed my libido. So it is very much a case of have very strong boundaries. I'm not going to sleep with you immediately. It takes me a long time to sort of be comfortable enough to want to like sleep with people. So a lot of these guys are after like a quick shag and nothing else. So I've been on dates where like the date's gone well, and after that they've basically invited me over to have sex with them and then leave. And like that's not insane. He didn't, specifically. Actually, he did actually say that. I feel like I'm trying to like
don't cover.
I know. I feel like I'm trying to cover this guy, and I shouldn't. Like
name and shape.
He literally invited me over for an hour and a half to sleep with him. And then he wanted me to leave. And to be fair, I don't think I would have done that before. But there have been other guys that like I went on a date with. I might have thought about it. Like
for this.
Netflix, like Netflix and chill, like trying to come back to mine. Like I probably would have done that. Whereas now I'm like, I absolutely wouldn't do that because I have to feel comfortable enough with someone in order to like be intimate and
I've been together for a
Yeah.
while.
So how has that like affected your sex life?
I mean, it's basically non-existent.
Yeah.
We had a seriously healthy sex life.
Seriously healthy. Wow, I love it.
So healthy.
Okay.
Honestly, our sex life was one of the best things about
How
our
often
relationship.
would you have sex?
I thought maybe like 3-4 times a week.
Okay.
At least doing something together.
Doing
Two or
something.
three times a week.
Yeah.
And we, as long as we've known each other, have been unable to keep our hands off each other.
Yeah.
And obviously, my libido is dead,
Mm-hmm.
which is really tough on Shane because he's gone from having sex with me all the time to me being really, really poorly to me coming out the other side of it and just being like, ugh. I hate the way I look naked. I look at myself and I see my scar and I see the extra weight, and I don't feel confident even with someone that I love to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
And I've tried all sorts. I've done all the normal things that they suggest, like lube and everything. I use this ridiculous. Oh my god!
Yeah. Tell us about the weird cream that they prescribed you.
Here,
So when you're in the menopause, you have a dry vagina, basically.
very dry, and like all of your skin like just doesn't stretch at all. That's the main problem. Like there's no stretch in the
Right.
skin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
I've
you're
not had sex for a while.
you're not missing out.
Okay, good.
It's almost like you're just trying to like push something into a hole that's got no give at all. So it's really, really painful. And like, you know, when you might not remember, but you know, when you first have sex and it's like painful, where like
Yeah.
everything is stretching for that first time, it's like that. It's
Yeah.
horrible. So they gave me this cream, Estriol. It's like the consistency of Savlon,
Oh God.
and it goes in this. I'm currently
like
showing Shelley a ridiculous syringe.
It's quite a
that's
long, like tube,
the length of your
like
fingers,
a tampon applicator, but long.
but long. Yeah, and you fill this up and you put it inside you, and then you squirt it up inside you, and it doesn't go anywhere. Like, your body absorbs a little bit, but it just leaks out, and you wake up. You're meant to do it at night time. You wake up in the morning with just like everywhere,
just like weird,
and it's so grim. And it's so unsexy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't even have sex until like my body's sorted that out, and I've sorted that out, which isn't sexy.
Well, the whole point of that cream is to like make you feel like you want to have sex, and it's doing the complete
and
opposite.
make it possible. I've not had a lot of luck with it at all.
No.
You're meant to use it. So, well, firstly, it comes with the longest patient information leaflet I've seen in my entire life. And right near the bottom, it says, do not prescribe to people who have had breast cancer.
I probably, does it contain estrogen or something?
Yeah. It's low level estrogen, and because it's localized, it's meant to be okay. But I read that and immediately went straight back, and I was like, why are you prescribing me this thing that says I shouldn't have this thing? And they explained that in low levels it should be fine. So I'm meant to do it 3 times a week for the first month, and then it's once a week ongoing afterwards. I've done it 3 times a week for the last month, and it's just not having any effect. Every time we try and have sex, I end up in tears, which is not a nice place to be, because
Absolutely
then
not.
I'm tired from putting my body through that. I'm upset from putting my body through that. I then create that association with that
100%,
environment. So the next time it comes round, I catch myself quite often saying to Shane, like, oh, please be careful.
Yeah.
It's not being careful.
Yeah.
It's not being rough.
But you're like tight,
ramming it in.
Like,
like it's taking its time, and it's really lovely and nice about it. And I'm just there like, please don't hurt me.
Yeah, and when you're in that mind frame of like it's gonna hurt, it will hurt.
Yeah,
you're tense. But it must be difficult to like get your head around it. Not like, I don't know how you would even get your head around that.
I mean, I quite haven't. And there's times where we can't physically have sex, and there are other things we can do.
Yeah.
But doing all the foreplay afterwards and everything when you're already feeling shit about yourself, it just doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't.
And I just find myself not in it completely, because I'm too busy trying not to beat myself up about the fact that I feel like I'm letting him down because he can't have sex with me, and I want to have sex with him.
Yeah.
Because even though my sex drive is gone, I still want to have sex with him,
Yeah,
and I can't. And it's like, it doesn't matter what
it's
I
like a
do,
frustration. Yeah.
I can't get my body to participate,
Mm.
which is really annoying.
But it's not something that like there's nothing wrong with your body.
No.
Like, you know, you've had cancer, you've been through this traumatic thing, like you're in the menopause now. This is just your new body, and it's just a case of like trying to work out like what does and
How
doesn't work
work.
for you, and working at it together, I guess. Like, it's a horrible mindset to think that like there's something, I can't get my body to work. Like, your
Yeah.
body's working just fine.
Yeah.
Or,
I'm so lucky because he finds me very attractive, which is great. And even though I can't, you know, give him the sex life that he wants anymore, that doesn't stop him being like sexually affectionate towards me and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff. That hasn't stopped. That hasn't gone anywhere.
that's
And
good.
that's amazing because I value so much knowing that he still wants me.
Yeah.
And that makes me want to keep putting ridiculous cream up my vagina
God.
all the time, even though it doesn't seem to work.
It doesn't. Have you tried like just normal lube? And
Yeah.
that just doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
So our sex life is basically non-existent.
Do you have like oral sex or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did
Is
recently,
that like?
actually, for his birthday, I bought him a gift called Quickies.
Mhm.
And it's basically like scratch cards.
Yeah.
And under there is a 30-minute or less sexual activity, adventure.
Nice. Oh, that's really
And
cool.
the idea of it is to like reconnect and rebuild. It's not
Yeah.
about the having sex, it's about the creating the intimacy
Yeah.
that comes with it. So I bought him that for his birthday because I thought it was a good gift for me to show willingness that like, I know I can't give you the end goal
Yeah.
right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to find a medium. Like, I still want to be intimate with you, I still want to have fun with you.
Yeah.
So let's try and do that.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited for us to try that.
Well, that's
Should be quite
cool.
good.
That's
'Cause
good.
it is literally just things like, oh, you've got 20 minutes. Here we go. Grab
Actually
these
be like
things and off you.
spontaneous, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. Because there's nothing like less sexy than having to like plan like,
Oh,
oh wait, I
know.
need to put this cream in, and then I need to do this and do this, and then
tomorrow because I've got a cream tonight.
literally it just takes the whole like sexy thing out of like having sex.
Yeah.
Having to plan like when you're gonna put the lube in, and
Oh god, no, it literally makes me cringe thinking about it.
oh
And I have to
god,
live it every other night.
no. I don't envy you on that account. I feel like I'm fine just not having sex, actually.
If you get to the same point, I've got some spare
Yeah, like,
tubes.
I'll just come round and be like, we need to borrow some of your weird lube. Is there anything that like Shane could do to make you feel like, to help you, I don't know, because obviously it is about like sort of body image, and you said that you don't find yourself attractive, and like he obviously tells you how much that he finds you attractive.
Yeah.
But I guess it's
I
like,
don't think there is anything he can do because
yeah,
he does so much.
Mhm.
He tells me I'm beautiful. He tells me I'm sexy. He's constantly like telling me his favorite things about me. If I get my boobs out in front of him, he would literally like just stop what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, nothing else matters except my boobs, which is like great. That's a great
Yeah.
position to be in, right? And even when we do try and have sex, he's attentive and he's careful, and he's really good at checking that I'm okay.
Yeah.
Which of course isn't sexy, but you know, it's
it
great
has to be
because at least
done, I
he's
guess.
aware because he knows I will willingly push myself through the pain
Mhm.
so that he can have what I want to give him,
Yeah.
which is not a healthy
No.
place to be
You
in.
shouldn't have to push
Yeah.
through the pain.
So he's great. I think a lot of it is just my body needs to start behaving,
Yeah.
which is not gonna do.
Would you ever think of, because I basically asked to be referred to psychosexual therapy,
Yeah.
had one session, and actually it was super, super interesting. She has to sort of get to know you and what your sexual, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like she has to get to know you on a very intimate level.
Yeah.
And so she asks you sort of about like porn as well, and like where did you sort of like learn your sex education. And I think like porn does have a lot to say for itself in terms of like the sex, this is the sex you should be having, this is how much you should enjoy it. And like, you know, this is maybe TMI, but we're in it now.
Yeah.
I
it's very
don't
TMI.
orgasm from like penetrative sex. I have to have like clitoral stimulation. And that's true of a lot of women.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a small percentage of women that like orgasm through penetrative sex, and I just think porn or like films and TV like give you this warped sense of like what your sex life should look like, even to the point where like I told her that like I have a really low libido, and she asked me like how many times a month would I say that I'd like have the urge to like masturbate or something. And in a medical setting, that's a fine question. On a date, that's not a fine question. And I said maybe like 2 or 3 times a month, and she was like, oh, it's really interesting that you'd say you had a low sex drive, because that's actually quite normal. And whereas I was like, wait, what? Like I thought I was so weird for like not wanting to like have sex all the time. Whereas that's not reality. And I sort of left that thinking like, oh, maybe I'm actually not as, you know, sexually inactive as I thought I was.
So we definitely came into this in a place of like very high sex drive. Like I've never been with anyone else and been having that much sex still that long into being with them either.
Do you reckon you would consider like sex therapy?
Yeah, definitely would. I contacted the sexual care after radiotherapy.
That's who I saw.
Haven't heard back from them.
Oh,
so
it's really
need to follow up from them. Because I really also think it would be really good for Shane to come, because I think it would be good for them to talk to both of us. I love therapy. I think therapy is great. I think it's really helpful, but I definitely think there has to be more out there that can be done to help us on this.
100%.
I am not prepared in my 30s to just end up sexless. You know, it's a really nice thing to do with someone, to like feel that close to someone, and I miss it. I do really miss it. I don't think I tell him enough that I miss it, but I do miss it, and I wish we could get even like a tenth of what we had back, because at the moment we've just gone from like 100 to 0. I was on a moving forwardy type class thing, and on there were a lot of older women who were saying that they were like really likening what they were dealing with to what other people were saying who were in their like 40s or 50s and were going through menopause. And I found it really hard to sit there and be like, yeah, but it's normal, in inverted commas, for someone in their 50s and 60s to have a less active sex life than it is for me to be in my 30s. And I'm not okay with that, because I feel like I just reached a point where I knew my body, I liked my body, I knew what I liked, I knew what he liked, we knew what worked, and then that was just taken away. Shane is quite lucky that we have, I'm sorry, my mum and dad filmed a lot of what we've done together, because that's something that he likes.
Filmed it.
Yes.
Watch it back. I feel like if I ever watched myself back, I'd be like, ew.
A little bit awkward to begin with, but actually I think because it's us, it's less awkward.
Do you watch it together?
Sometimes,
God. Wow.
But that means that he's still got a sense of us if he needs it, which I really appreciate, because it's nice knowing that when he is getting himself off, he's getting himself off over to someone else just on the internet. It's like I'm still serving some form of
oh, you serve so much purpose. I think like it's difficult because obviously like relationships aren't just about sex, like that, you know, relationships are about so much more. But yeah, like as you said, like you had such a great sex life, so it must have affected your relationship
that comes from it as well. I think because when you're having sex, like you're at your most vulnerable, right? You're naked, it's just the two of you, and that creates intimacy. And because you're not experiencing that, or when you are trying to experience that, you're false starting, you don't get that level of intimacy. It's really different. And you think nice things, like you'd have sex and afterwards you'd just be cuddling, like chatting about nothing.
That's cute.
And like running your hands over each other, and you lose that as well because you're not in that like after sex glow.
You just like get into bed like, no. See you in the morning.
I know that I now reach out for Shane a lot more in the night than I used to. I used to do a lot of reaching out to like check he was there almost, because he's not a very good sleeper. But I'm aware that now I need to be in contact with him more
Right.
during the night
Yeah.
to stay asleep or feel comforted. And
Mhm.
I think that's because I'm not getting comfort through the sex and
Right.
and things
Okay.
like that,
Yeah.
which is also
It's
really quite weird.
it's
'Cause now we need
interesting,
each
isn't
other.
it? Yeah. Yeah. I used to love like a cuddle and then like you can go back to
Yeah.
your own side now. Whereas I feel like now I'm like, just don't touch me. No, I'm joking.
So after I'd had surgery, it's this is funny, but it's not funny.
I love the funny ones. None of this is funny, but
Yeah.
it is.
After the whole time I was like saying to Shane, I was like, this isn't going to ruin our sex life. This is it. We're still going for it, whatever. Had surgery. It was obviously very, very fragile. And Shane just would not touch me
Yeah.
at all. He was terrified of hurting me, which
Oh
is
God.
fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And after about 2 weeks, I'd like been dropping hints
Mm.
and like, you know, making moves, and he'd been like, yeah. And I remember like just messaging him and being like, you can have sex with me, you know. And he was like, yeah, I know, but I don't want to hurt you. And I was like, glass. And like I was essentially really aggressive about it. He came home and he was like, okay, shall we? And I was like, yeah, let's.
I love it.
Obviously, it's not sexy because you're still in a bra. Like you have to be in
Like tight sports
tight
bra,
sports all the
basically.
time. So that stayed on, and you know we got going, and then like the movement, and I was like, oh, this is not
Maybe not such a good idea. I regret everything.
We're having sex. I'm lying there like holding my boobs the whole time, like literally pressing this so they don't move. And he's like, is this okay? I'm like, yeah, this is fine. This is honestly, this is great.
Yeah,
This is fine. Let's keep having sex with me. This is fine.
Was
it? No,
Did you
really not. Like waist down was great. Above, really painful.
so good.
It was, I think, like I look back on that now and think like stupid idea, but actually like it was so important to me at that point that we didn't lose that, and everything obviously got way worse. And
I think it is a frustration, and like I mean obviously I don't know what Shane would say if he was here, but like people I guess who haven't had that experience, who haven't had cancer, like they don't know what to say or what to do or how to touch you, like so I'm glad, good for you for basically just being like fuck you, you're having sex.
And now like, oh, what you want to okay, like Thursday at 9 because I've got cream
And you know I've got to sort myself out, I've got to prepare, do some breathing.
I probably should have a shower.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work these days as well.
It's so interesting though, because obviously we've got such complete like different I guess opinions, because obviously I'm dating, I'm very whereas you're like obviously going through a relationship, and I can't really speak too much on the sex thing because I've not had sex in a long time. I feel like it probably will be quite a while before I have sex again, if Hinge is anything to go by. Also, I live with my parents still, so
I hadn't even thought about that bit.
And it's so awkward. Imagine me being like, do you want to come back to my parents? No. So it's just really interesting to hear like your perspective on it. And I think like, I mean, I've not had sex in a while, but I've never had the highest of sex drives. Like I've never been like, oh my God, it must have you now.
Yeah.
So God knows what it's going to be like now after cancer. But yeah, it's interesting to hear, because obviously you went from like having sex a lot to having nothing. Like
I think we've had sex in every room in this house.
I'm sat on Kate's bed right now. So.
It's okay because it hasn't had sex for a long time.
Okay, well, good to know.
I should probably gonna have sex with him now.
Okay, I'll
get out of bed.
Give myself out, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay.